evangelical is one of the biggest. In fact, guys, we pull that article out. It was one of our articles that links to Fox News. I want to put that on screen for folks, just since I mentioned this right now. It was about 2 years ago. And the headline is, Evangelicals Tea Party, soldiers told not to be part of the Tea Party or evangelical church. I mean, that's the headline. I want to put it on screen. I want to get it there. I want people to see this so they can understand that in America has gotten so totalitarian that the commanding general, and he backed off once he got heat. There it is. Does Army consider Christians, Tea Party, a terror threat? That was the Fox News whitewash. Let's actually click on the link. There it is. And when you scroll down, Fox reports it like it might be reasonable. It doesn't say you have a First Amendment. How dare them say you can't be part of the evangelical church, probably the second biggest Christian denomination in the U.S., maybe third biggest. You can debate it. How dare them say that you can be court-martialed and it violates the military code of justice to, quote, be in the Tea Party or evangelical. Boom, Fox News. Boom, 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 boom. But you can have a satanic party at Fort Hood and people running around naked having sex in the middle of a park. Well, it's a religious ceremony. So that's what I was getting at, is that truth is stranger than fiction. And you've got this whole backdrop of the FCC grabbing the internet and all these EAS alerts. And we've got footage here. Video shows troops training to intern citizens in Fort Lauderdale. They've got black helicopters flying around landing. And then you've got people being rounded up and being marched on to white vans and disappeared. And then we had the G20 that my reporters were at in Pittsburgh, I don't know, 5 years ago, and footage of a car pulling up, troops jumping out, grabbing protesters, shoving them in. Let me just Google snatch and grab at G20. And then disappearing them. And then it happened the next year in Canada at the G20. And then it happened the next year in England. I mean, they just pull up, grab peaceful people in military uniforms, and disappear them. And then I was watching on the plane back on American Airlines last night, where they propagandize you with NBC Universal Propaganda, the show Chicago PD. I'm going to talk about that coming up. It was a pretty good show, entertaining, had me supporting torture by the end of it at an unconscious level. Because the guy is a good cop, he means well, and at the end, you know, he was doing it all just to get a diamond ring back that belongs to his dead wife or whatever, to give to his son-in-law. But he tortures everybody and takes them to secret sites to torture them, which the Chicago PD really has. And these shows are there to be a mind control narrative to make good men and women think they're doing illegal things and involved in illegal conspiracies to protect America. And it even had Army propaganda in it. And again, I'm not against the Army itself. I'm against the propaganda to turn it into a total tyranny. And it's all these shows are just pure brainwashing. You add all this together, it's incredible. And the Washington Post says, don't freak out about militarization of police. Don't freak out about the Patriot Act. Don't freak out about the NSA. Don't freak out about a 10-state military operation with people posing as civilians, quote, doing suspicious things. It's all a conditioning op. And I told you, it's going to have elements that are for overseas. All of these massive operations do. And Paul Watson wrote an article yesterday about how it is for attacks on Iran and Syria. Of course, they're going to be doing some practice for that as well. But all this is about, at the bottom line, is death squads. Openly operating where the helicopters show up, the spec ops show up, they take you out, they kill you, or they disappear you as just the next level of intimidation. And this is all about a criminal government trying to maneuver the military, the armed services, into this treasonous role. And let me just give everybody news. I see this statement put out by PsyOps all over the news. If there is a civil war in America, we're going to crush the Tea Party. You can't deal with helicopters, spec ops, and hellfires. Yeah, if a civil war breaks out, the patriots aren't going to sit in their houses and wait for the helicopters to come. The patriots would just go out and engage the political class that runs all this and end this very quickly. So just step aside, step around the brainwashed troops, and the Patriots are going to go right at the politicos, right at the generals that are running this. Because I have a long torso, and I sit down and still have a tiny little pot belly. I mean, where it folds over my pants. It is 1/10 what it was. And so now that that's actually gotten so small, and I've lost so much fat internally that I actually have a little piece of intestine sticking out. It's not very fun. Doesn't feel very good. It's sticking out right now. And I'm going to have that sucker fixed tomorrow by a great doctor. So say your prayers for the info war. But I'm sure it'll be fine. It's all in God's hands. And then I should be back in a couple days if there aren't any complications. But I did wait 14 years, so the hole has gotten to be about the size of a silver dollar. Silver dollar right in my belly button. So that is coming up. David Knight's been doing a great job while I've been out of town. He's not filling in. He's hosting the info war. My reporters aren't filling in on the nightly news. They are the anchors. They are the reporters, and they are kicking butt. And I tell you, they've gotten better and better as I basically thrown them in the deep end. Most of them novices, never been in media. David's been in media, and they've just really turned out to do a crackerjack job. And they're teleprompter free, something mainstream media folks could never do. Now, where to begin here? Because I kind of went off into a jag about Jade Helm and the rest of it. We do have Dr. Mercola joining us in the third hour to cover some very positive news and to break down a higher order of killing. Killing us softly, the soft kill program. Here's CBS News, human birth control chemical. CBS News, wow. You can Google Alex Jones BPA juice boxes and find over 100 articles and national TV, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, saying I'm a total kook 6 years ago. And right through to today, when I say over 100, it's probably like 300, that BPA is not a birth control chemical, and that I'm lying, and that it doesn't change your sexual preference. Human birth control chemical, BPA, caused lower fertility in fish, government scientists say. And then it goes on to report it basically also changed their sexuality. In many cases, giving them basically both sexual organs in their development. Newly released research from the U.S. government scientists found a chemical in birth control pills, and the chemical BPA, affects the fertility of fish. So what they put in the plastic, those little microwave liners, and the rest of it is what you put in birth control pills. And we wonder why men are so feminine and so fat and so weak and so pathetic, and why they suddenly want to climb in bed with another man. It's this. And I'm not bashing people who genetically have predispositions. And this is a complex issue, and it's a spiritual issue as well, but I don't judge people. And I don't hate people. I don't get up there on a high horse because of somebody else's sexual proclivities if it isn't directed at children or innocence. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not a Pharisee. But this is a subject I'm going to talk about with Mercola. This is some big victories we're having in the third hour. Because of the chemicals in utero, and Dr. Groups talked about this, but I've had medical doctors like Dr. Blaylock on talking about it as well. You will have, and they've now done brain scans, they've now done autopsies on people that have gone out and had sex changes, and in most cases, they have a woman's brain. Or there's women that have basically a man's brain. There's major physiological differences. First thing is there's 3 times the connections between a female brain, left and right hemisphere, than there is in a male. And they just go and do autopsies on people that commit suicide and stuff that are, and my God, they got a woman's brain. So, you know, this was done, though, through the chemicals. Before it happened, sometimes it was very rare. Maybe 2% of the population total. Now it's going to skyrocket up to the majority.
We're on the march.